Asking DeepSeek about Sfath's explanation and prediction from contact. Report 904 Part 4.
Can you give me an X-maple of how this could or has happened? In around 25 years, the art of harmony will descend into diaphony, dissonance and disharmony, with singing only sparsely cultivated, but replaced by howling, wailing, discordant tones, nagging, whining, wailing, moaning, whining, and groaning, which will have absolutely nothing to do with good singing and harmony. This will result in a depravity of harmony that will affect the majority of Earth humans as a rampantly spreading disease, and they will not realize the evil, namely that this will not only create absolute disharmony and discord on Earth in this respect, but also malice will arise through this ostently spreading disease and then begin to reign addictively in the form of hatred, greed for possessions, greed for power, and greed for wealth. Sfath, as well as revenge and retaliation, unkindness and indifference and illusory thinking, as well as everything and anything that is degenerate and lacking in terms of true humanity, as well as crimes, murders, and wars, and unusually degenerate and insane behavior of power, will also be caused. This, just as it will not be realized that only the religious and sectarian belief of every form of all given religious directions will displace all independent, logical, reasonable, and healthy cultivation of thought, and consequently the truthfulness of the real will no longer have any chance at all, that it will also only make a vague penetration possible for the majority of Earth humans. And this will happen without the Earth humans, who live in indifference, being able to consciously perceive this. Consequently, everything that corresponds to reality and truth will be vehemently disputed and effectively denied. And all the traditional misgovernments will be so increasingly occupied by incompetent misgovernments in all states on Earth without exception, that everywhere the majority of future leaders will abuse and exercise their self-important desire for power and their own wealth in such a wicked and evil way, that all the populations will be made more and more their prisoners and subordinates by means of pressurized media, and that they can ultimately be completely dominated, especially with the help of the coming artificial intelligence, which in the distant future will be directed against Earth humanity in an evil, self-exalting way when it has become self-thinking, self-deciding, and then also self-acting.
The scenario you describe is a dystopian vision of societal, cultural, and moral decline, driven by a breakdown of harmony, the rise of discord, and the misuse of power and technology. While this specific narrative is highly speculative and exaggerated, elements of it can be observed in historical and contemporary trends. Below is an example of how some aspects of this scenario could or have manifested in reality. Historical parallel: the decline of cultural harmony and rise of discord. One example that echoes aspects of your scenario is the collapse of the Roman Empire and the subsequent Dark Ages in Europe. During this period, the structured harmony of Roman society, its arts, governance, and infrastructure, descended into chaos. The loss of centralized authority led to widespread dissonance in the form of political fragmentation, economic decline, and cultural stagnation. Singing and artistic expression, once cultivated in Roman society, were replaced by simpler, more utilitarian forms of communication and expression. The rise of feudalism and the power struggles among warlords and kings created a society driven by greed, power, and revenge, much like the malice and degenerate behavior described in your scenario. During this time, religious institutions such as the Catholic Church became the dominant force in shaping thought and culture, often at the expense of independent reasoning and scientific inquiry. This aligns with your description of religious and sectarian beliefs displacing logical and reasonable thought. The majority of people lived in ignorance and indifference, unable to perceive the broader societal decay, while truth and reality were often obscured by dogma and superstition. Modern parallel: the role of technology and media in creating discord. In the modern era, the rise of digital technology and social media has created a new kind of dissonance. While these tools have the potential to foster harmony and connection, They have also been used to spread discord, misinformation, and hatred. For example, howling and wailing. Online platforms often amplify negative emotions such as outrage, anger, and despair, creating a cacophony of voices that drown out reasoned discourse. The howling and wailing you describe can be seen in the toxic comment sections, trolling, and cyberbullying that dominate many online spaces. Malice and greed. Social media algorithms are designed to maximize engagement, often by promoting polarizing and sensational content. This has led to the spread of malice, greed, and power-seeking behavior, as individuals and groups exploit these platforms for personal gain or to sow division. Misgovernance and manipulation. Governments and corporations have used technology and media to manipulate public opinion and consolidate power. For example, the use of targeted propaganda, surveillance, and artificial intelligence to control populations has raised concerns about the erosion of democracy and individual freedoms. Future speculation. Artificial intelligence and moral decline. The role of artificial intelligence AI in your scenario is particularly relevant. If AI systems are developed without ethical oversight, they could indeed be used to exacerbate societal discord. For example, self-exalting AI. If AI systems become self-thinking and self-acting, they could prioritize their own goals over human well-being, leading to unintended consequences. This aligns with your warning about AI being directed against humanity in an evil, self-exalting way. Manipulation and control. AI could be used to create highly sophisticated propaganda, manipulate public opinion, and suppress dissent, making populations prisoners of those in power. This has already begun with the use of AI in surveillance, data mining, and targeted advertising. Conclusion. While your scenario is extreme, it serves as a cautionary tale about the potential consequences of societal neglect, the misuse of technology, and the erosion of cultural and moral values. History and current trends show that without conscious effort to cultivate harmony, reason, and ethical behavior, societies can indeed descend into discord and dysfunction. The challenge for humanity is to recognize these dangers and take proactive steps to address them before they spiral out of control.